My level looks does my level look okay? Am I a bit quiet? I don't know actually. Oh, I think it's okay. Scott, how's your level?
Hello.
Yeah,
Check
your
1 2.
level. Yeah, that's
Check,
good.
check.
Tom, is your
Check,
level?
check. 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, all right. No, I think we're all good.
Cool. We're all hip hoppity happening. Down with the kids, hey Tom.
Of course. Yo.
Is this part of the comedy build up for the new Netflix special?
I love it. I love having a little cold open for the podcast that includes a joke that you will only get if you watched the specific roundup that came before the record.
Yes. Yeah, we put Easter eggs throughout the whole of the shows.
Right, here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Dice, Please, the bite-sized Blood Bowl podcast brought to you by the people at Blood Bowl Live. Chris here once again with Scott and Tom. And this week we had a grand plan of what we were going to discuss and go through with you. And we swiftly chucked it in the bin as soon as Games Workshop dropped the May errata for 2024. So this week we will be going through all of the magenta points on the May errata. I've got the list of them in front of me. It's wiggling my bit of paper for anyone who's listening and not actually watching the video version. And we'll see what we think of them. We're going to give each one somewhat of a rudimentary basic rating scale. If we think that there's things that are absolutely needed, we'll give them a POW or maybe a double POW if we really like them. If we're a bit indifferent, maybe we'll just give them a push. And if we absolutely hate the change, then it's going to be a skull or double skull. There is one change on this list that, in my head, I am giving a double skull to. Just the one. There's just one that I'm giving a double skull to, but it's in there. It's in the list. So, Scott, Tom, are we ready to dive into the 2024 May errata?
I think we should just get right into it, Chris. Good evening, by the way. Thanks for an introduction. You've forgotten us.
I'm sorry. I was just too excited.
I know.
I'm holding paper. I've never felt so official.
I thought we were making vague attempts to be some sort of cutting edge, journalism, bringing the truth, to the audience.
Next week we'll be bringing some kind of supplement that everyone will have to have put in their tea to make them better at Blood Bowl. Let's get straight to it then. Let's start off. We're going to spend more time on some of these than others because some of them don't really need any time spent on them. Tom, I'm going to come straight to you for this first one as our token vampire expert. If a player is bitten by a vampire as a result of a failed bloodlust roll and becomes stunned, even if already stunned, do they roll over and become prone at the end of the turn in which they are stunned or the following turn? And it has been confirmed that they roll over at the end of the following turn. That kind of makes sense to me. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that's no brainer, really, isn't it? It's standard. It's standard when you normally become stunned anyway, don't you? So
yeah, I guess it does make things complicated when you start stunning your own guys. I guess the same thing applies if you chuck a snotling at the wall. He's gonna become unstunned at the next turn.
Well, exactly. Yeah, and the same with anything that's thrown at things, isn't it? So yeah, I think that's doesn't need to be any further explanation on that one. There's a lot more for around the vampires, which might be a bit more interesting. But yeah,
yes, I've got a bloodlust section at the bottom here, which is quite thick, which we'll come to.
Just while we're on that, I read that question yesterday, and I read that and I thought, I bet as soon as the game designers received that question, it was like, well, we need to fill a gap. We need to put something in there just to clarify. But come on, guys, just read the rules properly. This is what happens.
Funny you should say that, Scott. The next one I read, and the next one, you can hear this question being asked by a particular kind of Blood Bowl player, I think. So here's the question. Can a player with movement of 2 or less attempt to rush or stand up instead of attempting a roll of 4+ to stand up? See page 44 of the book. Now, page 44 of the book is pretty clear. on how this rule works. And somebody is just like, well, hang on, and just clearly trying to take the mick with this one. Surely the answer is no. You have to do the 4-up. You cannot attempt to rush instead.
No, again, you know, like you say, some of them just have to be clarified for certain individuals. You know, people either wanting to skew the game or just pure desperation. Why won't it stand up, for the love of God?
You could always hear the game designer eyes being rolled in the back of their heads. They thought, "Oh, it's that guy again. What are they doing?"
Just a point as well. We are only covering the magenta items. I can't remember if I said that or not. So we're not.
You
covering
did,
the whole
Chris.
thing.
You
I
did.
Cool. So to
We
go
were
along
listening.
with the stand up, can the pro skill be used to re-roll a dice when a player attempts to stand? No, it cannot. You cannot use pro to re-roll a failed attempt to stand up. So, interesting clarification there. I don't know whether can you use a regular re-roll? Can you just not use the pro skill?
I think you can, but of course, depends if you got loner or not. Thinking of the big trees.
I guess also if it's the pro has the player with pro is the one who can use the reroll, and you are currently at the point where you're trying to stand up. You are prone, so you're not gonna. I get it.
What about the leader reroll then?
Well, leader reroll is
for the team,
isn't it? Whereas this is for the player. So, I don't know. Somebody comment on this podcast and tell us whether you can use leader instead.
Because I'm not saying before you move on that when you're prone or stunned, there are certain skills that are still active, like disturbing presence and foul appearance. Maybe
that's a good question for another one. A technical nuance.
Well, basically, we're going to end this particular podcast with more questions for the developers than we actually are reading out, aren't we?
I think we need to be careful as well. We don't disappear down the rabbit hole of what if I had a player who was stunned, but then he got bitten by bloodlust, but then he needed he only had movement of 1 because he was stat busted, and he just happened to have pro on a lucky, and he had jump up as well. And it's like, no, let's stop now. Let's not cover everything in the world. This isn't a multiverse. Just a disclaimer.
Right. Okay, let's jump onto the next one. Ball and chain. If a player uses the ball and chain move special action and moves out of the tackle zone of a player with the tentacles skill, does the player with tentacles get to use their skill? The answer is no. Now, I think I knew this already because the ball and chain, I think, you're not moving willingly. Technically, you're being dragged by the ball and chain, and I think tentacles does say like if you willingly move out, so dodging out or blocking and moving out as part of the block, you can use tentacles then as well.
So you can use tentacles when someone is doing a block or a blitz action and they're following up, which would move them out because it's a willing action.
Yes.
Exactly. Yep.
So that to me, that makes sense. I understand that one. That's all right. Before I ask this one, have either of you used the Fumble Rooski skill much? Because I've had it on a Skaven thrower and absolutely love Fumble Rooski.
No, but since I saw the article, I read up about the skill, and I just think it's on my tree as maybe a 3rd or 4th option for an elf catcher. I think it would be phenomenally dirty. I think this is the sort of skill I love between Fumble Rooski, Dump Off. It's just that, come on, guys. Try and catch me if you can.
Because like you say, you could do the Fumble Rooski, you could hand off and pass within the same turn.
Yeah.
Well, if you've got enough players with Fumble Rooski, you can move the ball. Someone's worked out how far you can move the ball around the pitch with the right placement. It is ridiculous. So the question is, if a player with Fumble Rooski skill begins their activation without the ball, then picks up the ball during their activation, can they still use Fumble Rooski skill during their activation? The answer is yes. So you could pick up the ball, you could then run over to someone else, you could drop the ball in front of them, continue your movement all in one turn. So getting the ball somewhere else. So that's fun. That's ridiculous, but that's fun.
So are you saying that if you had, say, 2 players with Fumble Rooski, one person can run up, pick up the ball, fumble Rooski it next to the other player. That player could pick up the ball, fumble Rooski it again. Then someone else could pick it up, hand off to someone else, and then pass.
Yes.
Yes.
That's dangerous, isn't it?
That's
dirty.
beautiful. That's beautifully filthy. We love that, Tom. Come on.
Absolutely love it.
Chris, I guarantee Tom's now gonna draft an Elven Union team. Basically,
Tom's messaging the shop right now to get Skaven team ready to add Fumbleruski to every player.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's return to Bloodlust then. We're going to go back to Bloodlust. Here we go. If a player with Bloodlust begins their activation prone, do they need to roll for Bloodlust?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. I've been doing it right then.
Because it's at the start of your activation, so that includes even if you're just moving, you have to still do it, don't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and standing up is just a movement, so fine.
Yeah.
Next one on Bloodlust. If a player with the Bloodlust trait fails the roll for Bloodlust, can they continue to move after biting a thrall in order to score, make a pass action, or reposition? And it's been clarified as no. After the model has bitten a thrall, they may move no further unless they have a rule that specifically states otherwise, such as running pass.
Oh, now that's nice to know.
So that's good to know.
Yeah, because you're quite right. It's the reason why everyone you see who plays vampires always has to put a thrall in the touchdown zone just to be on the safe side. That if you do go for it and you fail your bloodlust, you've got to go there and bite that person to score the touchdown, or else you get it there. But to know that there's like a skill like running pass, especially with your runners that have got agility as a primary skill, that's an interesting one.
Interesting with that, I believe, and Chris, tell me if I'm wrong, running pass is a nega trait. So you can declare the pass, but you don't have to do the pass.
So passing, yeah, you always have to declare the pass, but you don't have to do it. So if you've got running pass, that's interesting.
So what I'm thinking is, I think you've caught on what I'm saying. So if Tom, in your example, if you had a thrall just outside the end zone, your vampire thrower can, or whoever's doing it, your vampire blitzer, your vampire runner, they can say, actually, okay, we are now gonna, go for it. I failed bloodlust. I can run. I've got this skill for running pass. I say I'm going to declare a pass, but you don't. You fail your bloodlust. You run past the thrall, bite him, and then you can continue however many squares you've got left into the end zone. Does that count?
Now, I would guess, and I don't have it in front of me, so if either of you two do have it in front of you, I would guess that I would assume that the running pass skill specifies that you can only use. Yeah, I would think that. I think
so
you probably can't get to the thrall, bite the thrall, say, actually, I'm not going to do the pass anymore, and then keep moving.
No, because that would end that piece.
Yeah, so I would think you have to. My assumption is you would have to do it.
So if this player performs a quick pass action, their activation does not have to end once the pass is resolved.
It's just after the pass is resolved.
If you wish, and if this player has not used their full movement allowance, they may continue to move after resolving the pass.
Okay, so it's like you can't do it as a nega trade. So I was going to pass. Yeah, not bothering anymore. It's mine. This is all mine. This ball.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense to me. That makes sense. But good to know that though, if you've got running pass, that the action of biting the thrall doesn't mean you can't then continue. So that's an interesting one. Okay, right. Here's the big one. What happens when a player with the bloodlust trait targets a player with foul appearance skill and fails both the bloodlust roll and the foul appearance roll? Now, we had this last season many times with Nurgle versus Vampires as an option that was going to come up. So here is what they have said. The player must first take the bloodlust roll. If this is failed, they may choose to change their declared action to a move action, in which case they will not need to roll for foul appearance. If they do not, then they will need to roll for foul appearance as normal. If this is failed, then their action is wasted and their activation will end. This will result in a turnover if they are unable to bite an adjacent thrall teammate. I think that does all make sense. There's a lot of steps to take there, but logically that does make sense for both skills, I think.
Yeah.
It's perfect for the vampires because, as I said before, the vampires are the accountant's friend. Step by step by step, you have to do the rolls in order. Yeah.
So if you're up against a team with a lot of foul appearance, so you're up against dirty bed sheets or you're up against bloaters, will you have to basically keep a thrall next to your vampire as well as next to the person you want to punch, just to make sure you don't get a turnover?
I think it's the motto that you must always keep a thrall next to a vampire at all times. But yeah, exactly that. I suppose you would know. Yeah, it's actually, the fact is that what would actually have to happen would be that the thrall would have to be next to the foul appearance person you are blitzing or blocking, because if you're because the biting happens at the end of the activation. So what you would do is you'd say, right, I'm blitzing that player, fail bloodlust, run up to get towards it to the player, fail foul appearance.
So you would do the foul appearance roll before you do the movement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you declared a blitz, yeah.
Okay. So with foul appearance, if you fail it and say you're 3 squares or whatever squares away, you do not move. You just stay there scared.
Yeah.
Oh, crummy. So you'd need to have it.
So you need one with you where you are.
You need 2 thralls. One next to the player you're going to blitz and one next to your vampire.
Yeah, to be absolutely safe.
Yeah.
Or you have to fail the bloodlust and then go, right, I'm no longer doing the blitz.
Or just Tom, or even simpler, just don't fail the bloodlust in the first place.
Just don't play vampires, Tom.
Yeah, it's easy. And if you're playing vampires, don't play Nurgle.
Yeah.
Just have 11 thralls on the pitch. Sod it.
Right, let's move on from vampires. Let's go on to gnomes, shall we? So we've got a couple of gnome ones. So when a player uses the trickster trait, does the player being removed from the pitch and then placed again count as the player moving? Now, this feels like a stupid question to me. I would say no. Obviously, it doesn't, because it's not on their turn to start with. So I would say no. And the answer is no. It is a placement, not a movement. As such, any rules that interact with the player moving, such as shadowing or tentacles, do not come into effect. So a good way to get out of tentacles without needing to roll.
Very good. Yeah. One for the gnome people.
One for the gnome people.
That's what I say. It's one of these, you can almost read the annoyance in the answer there from the writers. It's like, we've explained this in Spike. Go on YouTube, have a look, guys. It's not a movement, it's a placement.
It's all right, because they clearly aren't taking the passive aggression out on the way that it's written, or are they?
True.
So the answer starts with no, it is a placement, not a movement. We then go on to the next one. If a player uses trickster trait and places themselves in a square containing the ball, do they attempt to pick it up? Answer: no. It is a placement, not a movement. As such, it's exactly written the same. The ball will immediately bounce in the same manner as if the player had been pushed back. So, okay, that's probably a better one to clarify, that you're not moving into a square with the ball, so you do not get the chance to pick it up. The ball will bounce instead. That's a good one to clarify, I think.
Yep.
So if you get pushed into the space where the ball is, do you get a chance to pick up the ball?
No.
No, it bounces.
No. I think it's again it's well, for that it's a forced movement, isn't it? It's not a choice. I guess with trickster it is a choice, so that's why they're clarifying the difference between placement and movement. Okay, that's enough. That's a good one to know. Okay, we've got some big ones now here. guard. So the way that it's changed is that they've changed the description to when a player performs a block action, including as part of a blitz, this player can offer both offensive and defensive assists, regardless of how many opposition players are marking them. So the main change there is it does not apply to fouling. You cannot use the guard skill to apply an assist when you are doing a foul. Now, I actually think this is probably one that I personally would have questioned whether you could anyway if I didn't know otherwise. So this isn't a big impact for me, really.
Might be for some of the goblin players, might be for some stunties who have dirty players or are going to be incentivized to do a lot more fouls. But again, this clarifies it for you. It's like, no, you can't just have someone standing there and almost have a gimme in terms of the extra assist. That's how it feels like. But yeah, very simple, very crystal, no surprises.
I've realized as well, I've just realized that we haven't been rating any of these, but for me, every single one so far has probably been a push. I've not been overly disappointed or excited by any of these clarifications so far. To be honest, they're sort of all ones that I've sort of heard and gone, yeah, makes sense. Nothing overly dramatic.
Yeah, I agree.
So the next one is the one that we all knew was coming because as soon as they said that the gnomes will have access, gnomes are part of the halfling thimble.
Yep.
We always knew this one was coming because they said it would be in the next FAQ. The changes to the description of the inducement for the halfling master chef, that it is 3,000 gold pieces and 300,000. And it's 100,000 gold pieces for halfling teams rather than for halfling Thimble Cup teams. So we knew that was coming. Again, that's not overly worrying, is it? On that one. Okay, this is the first one that I am giving a POW to. I think
this is a double POW. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think this is going to give those goblin coaches a little bit of TLC.
Yeah. I think goblin coaches have. I mean, we know a goblin coach who's been very sad about the way goblins have been treated, and I know that he's very happy with this. Bomber, the addition of passing skills to primary and removing passing skills from secondary, so your goblin bomber can now take primary passing skills to help with throwing bombs. It absolutely makes sense. The Snotlings have it already. It was ridiculous.
I love it.
Really.
I love the idea as well of goblins not just going for like accurate, nothing like that. No. Go for Cannoneer or go for Hail Mary. I love the idea of like you've got a gutter runner, a war dancer, you've got your, human catcher, whatever you've got, your movement 8-piece, your fastest one on the pitch. They've made a break. They're cantering away. They're looking at the end zone thinking, I'm already, in front of the press, giving my post-match speech. And then all of a sudden the goblins are like, on the edge, son. No, you come back here. Just absolutely hurling a bomb anywhere on the pitch because that's what it would do. That would be very entertainingly funny as well.
Yeah, and I think, like you say, it was the fact that didn't they get kind of nerfed in the last FAQ with the fact with fouling, you couldn't move away from the player, you just fouled.
There are a couple. I think it's a couple of FAQs ago. They got taken down a peg, mighty blow taken off the bomb, and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a question that is the sort of question that will put a GW game writer's head in his hands. If you were to give dump off to your bomber and someone blocks them, can you just casually chuck a bomb to someone else in the same turn?
No, it is a bomb, not a ball. I think there is definitely one of those things. Someone's asked a similar thing, and it says, "No, it's a bomb, not a ball."
You wait for someone to query every single passing skill that goes with it, and for there to be 12 different FAQs that say, "No, it is a bomb, not a ball."
I think that's got to be either on a T-shirt for all, or if you buy a Goblin team, it comes with a free T-shirt, sticker, mug, and everything there says, "No, it's a bomb, not a ball."
Yeah, it comes with a car sticker that you can just stick on the back of your car. That will absolutely get you removed from every airport car park you ever go to. So second
Big
to
power
last
for that,
one
yeah.
then. Yeah, big power for that one.
Sorry, Tom, what did you think? How would you rate that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a huge power. I think the goblins need a bit of love, and equally there seems to be a lot more kind of in this kind of FAQ around passing, which I do think has kind of lost its way in the game. A lot of people are very fearful of it. I know that we've started to see a lot more of that kind of passing skill coming back into our season, and also not just passing balls but bombs now, and also teammates. So it's good to
Yeah.
see.
So this next one gets an absolute double power from me, and I think it probably gets a double power from you two as well. Underworld Denizens team. Underworld
Yes.
Snotlings remove the swarming trait. Quite frankly, well overdue.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait till you see that come back on the gnomes. The gnomes will trade next time.
Gnomes will get swarming.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the Underworld team. We all know that they've been top of the meta for however long. They've been so strong. We've had a team in our league who's been very, very good over a couple of seasons. And the fact that you could have a team with a skilled up gutter runner, a skilled up Skaven thrower, arguably two of the best passing catching player combos that you can have, a rat ogre or another big guy in there as well, and then to go along with those players, you can start with 14 players on the pitch. That is just, it's criminal. It is too overpowered.
And if you look at as well, you know, you mentioned they can have a rat ogre or a troll, but they can take both, which we've seen before. If they want to take like Ripper or any of the other star play, they've got an incredible amount of star players they've got access to as well. So yeah, I wouldn't say a double power, but definitely a double stumble on this. You see what I did there because of the push
I see what you
see,
did.
Tom.
I
Yeah,
see
thanks.
what you did.
That was a waste. That was a
your,
waste. That was a waste, and that's not going to the Netflix special.
Stick that on your whiteboard behind you. Solid joke from there we go.
I'm just not at that level. But no, generally, I think it's gone down well. It's a good one for the community as well. Underworld still, you know, even with this not up there, speed, their arsenal is still formidable. As you said, Chris, you know, they still got, you know, they've got the gutter runner, they've got a blitzer, they've got the best bits of a Skaven team, they've got the best bits potentially of a Goblin team as well, and they do still have, you know, Snotlings, you know, not as many, but you can still take Snotlings to gum up the works if you want as well. And what's a Snotling these days? 15k.
Yeah, and also it doesn't count towards your team value, does it? So you get your team value is low, so you can get more star players. It's just a cycle of pain. So
yeah,
really glad to see that one go. The last one then. So there was one other magenta point, which was just that gnomes are confirmed as tier 3. I think we always knew that was going to be the point, so we'll skip past that. But Cindy Pie Whistle has been promoted to Megastar. And I am giving this one a double skull, not because I don't think she deserves it. She is arguably as good as Bomber, just without the ability to have cheaper bribes. You know, be able to throw 2 bombs on one turn is really, really good. The reason I'm angry about this one is that quite often in tournaments you are limited to 1 megastar, and I played a game recently with Griff and Cindy, and the combination of the two of them was absolutely killer. It was just incredible, and I'm just sad now that I won't be able to take that to a tournament in the future that limits megastars, but probably deserved. Really, when you compare Cindy to Bomber Dribble Snot, it makes sense that they're both megastars.
Yeah, no surprise there. It's been talked about for a long time. It's sort of been, no pun intended, thrown around.
There's another one.
It's inspirational. Yeah, it was one we talked about before, but lots of people have talked about it online for a while yet. So it was just confirming sort of the known. No surprise there. Yeah, but I think I wouldn't say it's a double power, but yeah, it's a power. Cindy's earned her place in the megastar roster.
It'd be interesting maybe on another episode talk about those megastars, because there's some in there that I kind of think, well, should they be in there? For example, Krieg. The vermin.
Yes, yeah, the I'll be back rule. Come on, you got your ball and chain, you're smashing people up. Love it. What's not to love?
I know, but should he be a megastar though?
Yes. End of. Move. Let's stop that conversation now. There is no discussion there, Tom. Let's move on.
That's that topic binned, isn't it?
we believe in a healthy democracy of free speech and opinion, except when it comes to rats.
Well, that is all the magenta points then from this particular errata. I think mainly things in there that we all kind of needed clarity on, or actually probably expected, not like probably some pleasant surprises in there. If you've got any thoughts on the recent errata, the recent FAQs, anything that you think is ridiculous, anything you think should have been in there, you can let us know and we'll chat about it another time. Scott, if everyone wants to get in touch with us and tell us what they think or tell us anything else, how can they get in touch?
Well, before I just give out the contact details, because I know it's in high demand, how can people get in touch with us, even if it's a court injunctions? I just when we look at the overall health of Blood Bowl, the FAQs twice a year, May and then November. There's nothing overly complicated in there. It's not like Warhammer 40k or even AOS where you get the creep and the meta creep, where everything has to be completely rebalanced, and not just for one faction, but for all factions. And it just ends up in a complete mess at times. And it does, slightly add a bit of taste to the game. So I think it just shows that Blood Bowl is possibly, it's had a couple of new teams over the years, some new star players still coming out, very much supported and a growing part of the GW empire. So kudos where is kudos due, GW. Well done on a good May. But if you do want to get hold of us, if you want to contact us, you can email us at newdiceplease, all one word, all lowercase for you people out there who need to know. So it's newdiceplease@gmail.com.
Awesome. And if you enjoy the podcast and you want to see our Monday night roundups, our live streams, anything else that we have done, Tom, where can they find us?
Yep, so they can find us on practically all the socials at Blood Bowl Live. So we have it on Twitch. So just search for Blood Bowl Live on Twitch, where you can see the live streamings and our Monday night roundups. Equally, you can get us on YouTube as well on Blood Bowl Live. And I believe the Instagram is still going strong as well, is it? On Blood Bowl Live.
Bloodbowl Live Instagram does exist. I don't give it as much attention as I should, but it's definitely there. Thank you very much, gentlemen. You can also actually, if you want to get in touch with us, we do often some of the questions that we cover, we stick them. If you're listening to us on Spotify, there is a Q&A on Spotify, and we put the question that we've been talking about on there. If you want to comment there as well, and we can look there, and you can get in touch with us there as well. So have a look. But thank you, gentlemen, for going through the FAQs today. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We've been New Dice Please, and we will see you next time.